Warm-up problem number 1, 1/2 plus 3/5. The solution on this is a common denominator of 10. That means you have to multiply 2 by 5, so 1 by 5 is 5, and 5 times 2 is 10, 3 times 2 is 6. 11 over 10 is the answer, or 1 1/10. Warm-up number 2, 7 over 8 minus 2 over 3. The solution on this one is to have a common denominator of 24. That means you're multiplying 8 by 3. So 7 by 3 is 21. 3 by 8. 2 by 8 is 16. 5 over 24. Last warm-up problem. 1 over 3 plus 1 over 9. Solution for this is to have a common denominator of 9, which means this one doesn't change, but this one goes to 3 times 3 for 9, so 1 times 3 is 3. So 4 over 9 is the answer. For the lottery, pick a number from 1 to 20. Winning numbers today are 2 and 11. Next up is the homework check. And that would be the after-test assignment from Friday. Bring it up with your name on it, all facing the same direction in a stack up here. The objective for today is one of the most commonly missed problems from the last benchmark test. And it is this. A squared plus B squared equals C squared, otherwise known as the Pythagorean Theorem. And the problem on the benchmark was this. You were given two sides of a right triangle and you had to find this side. And 23% of you had that right, which means 77% missed it. So that's what we're doing today. Before we go any further, you must understand what each of these things are called on a right triangle. This is a leg, this is a leg, and this is a hypotenuse. You could call this A, call this B, and call this C. Our first example problem will be a leg of 3, a leg of 4, but we don't know the hypotenuse, which is C. We must solve for that. First, write out the formula. A squared plus B squared equals C squared. And plug in what you know. Remember, the A's and B's are 3 and 4. It makes no difference in what order you put them in because you'll still get the right answer. So we'll put 3 squared plus 4 squared equals C squared. Simplify your squares. 9 plus 16. And then add 9 and 16. To get 25. Just as with the cylinder problems where we had r squared and we found the square root, it was r. Same thing for this. The square root of c squared is c, and the square root of 25 is 5. Therefore, the length of this side is 5. Here's another example. The triangle is positioned differently, but you still do it the same way. 6, 8, and a missing hypotenuse. So that's A squared plus B squared equals C squared. 6 squared plus 8 squared equals C squared. And from there you would simplify 6 squared to 36 and 8 squared to 48. Not 48. I did the same mistake in the last class. That should be 64. And when you add 36 and 64, you come up with 100. Find the square root of both sides. 10 equals C. Therefore, this side is 10. Practice problem number 1. Right triangle, and this is 15. This is 20, and we don't know the hypotenuse. Solve for that. Okay, it should be A squared plus B squared equals C squared. So we'll do 20 squared plus 15 squared and set that equal to c squared. 400 plus 225 equals c squared. That's 625. And if you do the square root of both sides, you end up with 25 for C. Bonus problem. 2 over 5 plus 1 over 4. The solution for the bonus is to have a common denominator of 20. That means you're multiplying by 4 here. That's why we have an 8. And by 5 here. That's why we have a 1. 8 plus 5 is 13. 13 over 20. Another bonus problem. 7 over 8 minus 2 over 3. The solution for this one should be a common denominator of 24. You're multiplying by 3 to get the 24, so 7 times 3 is 21. 3 times 8 is 24, 2 times 8 is 16. Subtract to get 5 over 24. Practice problem number 2. We have a right triangle, and it's going to have legs of 18 and 24, but we don't know the hypotenuse. Solve for that. Alright, so we have a squared plus b squared equals c squared. That should be 18 squared plus 24 squared equals c squared. That is 324 plus 576 equals c squared. That's 900. And if you find the square root of both sides, you get an answer for c of 30. Another practice problem. Or not a practice, but this is an example. We have a right triangle in which we know the hypotenuse is 35 and one of the legs is 21, but we're missing the other leg. In this case, you have to switch up your formula. It's still the same basic a squared plus b squared equals c squared formula, but you're going to rearrange it. Anytime you're missing a leg, doesn't matter which one. Remember I told you you can label them either A or B or A. It's not going to make a difference. If you're missing a leg, you want to use this formula. A squared equals C squared minus B squared. This is if you're missing a leg. Usually the smaller leg is the A and the larger leg is the B, but it's not going to matter in terms of the formula. So if we call this A, if you're looking for A, it's going to be A squared equals C squared minus B squared, and plug in C squared, which is 35 squared, and then B squared is 21 squared. So on your calculator, figure out what 35 squared is. Yeah, 1225 minus 441, and you should come out with 784. Now, if you have 784 in your calculator as an answer from this type of problem, all you have to do in order to do the square root is to leave the 784 in there and hit second and then x squared and then second negative sign down at the bottom. So however you do it, the square root of 784 is going to be 28. Another example is this. We have a right triangle in which we know the hypotenuse is 40, and one of the legs is 24. We're missing the other leg. Use this variation of the Pythagorean theorem. A squared equals C squared minus B squared. A squared is the side that's missing. We don't know that, or at least A is. But if you plug in C, you'll have 40 squared minus B squared, which is 24 squared, and do those calculations. 40 squared is 1600, and 24 squared is 576. When you do the subtraction, you should have 1024. And do the square root of 1024 in your calculator to come up with 32. A practice problem. We know the hypotenuse to be 50. And we know one of the legs to be 40. Find the missing leg. You're missing a leg, so you should be doing this. It's going to be a squared equals c squared minus b squared. And c squared is 50 squared, b squared is 40 squared. Simplify those two to get 2500 minus 1600, and that gives you a difference of 900. Find the square root of both to get an answer of 30. 5 times 6 is 30, plus 3 is 33. And then 8 times 2 is 16, plus 1 is 17. The common denominator here should be 40. So you're going to multiply 5 by 8 to get 40. 33 by 8 would be 240 plus 24, 264. And then 8 times 5 to get 40. 17 times 5 is 85. If you add your numerators together here and here, you should get 349 over 40. And then figure out how many times 40 will go into 349 without going over. That should be 8 times. 8 times 40 is 320. That means you have 29 left over. 8 and 29 40ths. Another bonus problem. 9 over 11 minus 1 over 22. Solution to the bonus should be a common denominator of 22 to start with. That means the right fraction doesn't change. You're multiplying by 2 on the left. So that's where we get 18. 18 minus 1 is 17 over 22. Another bonus. 3 over 8 plus 5 over 9. The solution for the bonus is a common denominator of 72. 8 times 9 is 72, so 3 times 9 is 27. 9 times 8, 5 times 8 is 40. 67 over 72.